All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, many of you have gone to americasfuture.net. Some of you are watching online right now and have yet to do this. If we can all do whatever we need to do to donate at least $13 to support the families of those 13 soldiers that were killed in Afghanistan, we want to make sure that everybody does that. So again, if you can go to americasfuture.net, americasfuture.net. We are doing very well on the fundraising right now. We have some goals we want to hit to support those families. So again, americasfuture.net. Please make a donation of at least $13 to support the families of those 13 soldiers killed in Afghanistan. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please stand to your feet and greet America's General, General Michael Flynn. And it appears to be a handsome young man. A handsome young man. What's your name?
Justice.
Let's hear it for Justice, folks. Let's hear it for Justice. Oh, love the name. Love the name.
All right, thank you. All right. Wow. Okay, this is great. Grab a seat. But just for a second, okay? Just for a second. So, you know, we've done 4 of these, 5 of these. We got 2 more, Dallas, San Antonio, and we're like wondering, should we continue to plow this field, right? And that's what I believe, right? So, you know, because Scott he's had a little pre-music come out here, and I have a different, you know, I grew up in a different era, and I'm going to play a song that I like, okay? So make sure you turn it up. Go ahead and play it. Twisted Sister, 1984. Okay? I love it. Ah, boy, I tell you what. That's Twisted Sister, 1984. Okay, I'm gonna bring out a family here that I just met, and that's why I asked the question about continuing to do these things. And these guys came all the way in from Oregon, and so I'm gonna bring them out. So come on out. And what they have done, and Justice is a great 8 years old, right, buddy? 10. Oh my God, 10. Say it again.
I'm 10 years old.
All right, get your hands out of your pockets. Come on. All right. So, just give me your name.
Lisa Ermatinger.
All right.
Peyton Lene. Lisa Smith.
Lisa Smith.
Troy Smith.
Beautiful, beautiful family.
Mason Skirmerhorn. Kyler Skirmerhorn.
Holly Skirmerhorn, and his middle name is Noel.
Oh, my God.
No, Truitt. Justice Truitt.
Justice Truitt. I believe it.
Mark Knowles.
All right. So, Justice, how I met Justice, come here, buddy, come on. This is how you build confidence in young people. You get them up and you put them in front of people and you make them do things, right? I mean, you're all right. Look at him. He's like, hey, whatever you say there, General, right? So he comes up to me as I was walking out, and one of my partners here says, hey, there's a set of golf balls in a box, right? So this little kid wants to give you a set of golf balls in this box. So I said, oh, great. It's nice. He handed them to me. I went around. I said, hey, let's go say thank you to his mom and to Justice. And he just says, I said, hey, thank you very much. I said, where did you get them? He goes, well, my dad had about a dozen of these, so I just took these 3. Right?
Yes, that is correct.
He says, yeah. Say that again.
It is correct.
That's not fake news. So then I opened up the box, the 3 set of golf balls. I opened them up, and on the golf balls is basically a stamp of the United States of America in red, white, and blue. And on the opposite side of the golf balls, it says Mega 45. I love it. So, do you have anything you want to say to this group? Anything.
I don't know. I mean,
What grade are you in?
I'm in 4th grade in math, and I'm in 3rd grade in everything.
Wow. I love it. So he's in advanced math, so he would understand. For those of you that were here yesterday, he'd understand what my father told me about sleeping 8 hours a day, right? So I know this kid, if he's advanced in math, he's probably not sleeping 8 hours a day. So I just want to say thank you to this great family, beautiful, beautiful people from Oregon that came in here, and they really came here with a purpose. I mean, a real purpose, and they grabbed hold of myself and Clay. And I'm so glad that you introduced us, Justice. I mean, it's amazing how things work, right? God works in mysterious ways. He really does. Really, really does. So, and I am horrible at golf too, but that's okay. I will hit that ball. So what we're going to do, and I'll let Clay talk about the dates and all that. But we are going to show, like we continue to do this, we're going to show the flag. We're going to show the flag around this beautiful country. And we are not going to allow any state, especially the West Coast, right? We've been to Anaheim and Oregon. Oregon's next. So Clay will announce the dates here probably before we end up finishing up today. And so I just want to say to all you guys, thank you so much for doing this, for being part of this, and coming here with a purpose. I mean, a real purpose to say to us, we want you guys and your folks to come out there. We want to continue to plant this flag of freedom around this country, right? We're not going to take it anymore. Thank you. Thanks, dude. That's good. Thanks, everybody. Okay? All right. Thanks. All right. Thank you. See y'all later, okay? Thank you. And we'll square it away. All right? God bless. God bless. All right? Super. Thank you very much. Ashley, it's awesome. It's awesome. Wow. So I like to do something. I've been doing every single one, and I think you guys have seen these photos already. I mean, this was heartbreaking when I first met Emily and Kimberly, and I first met Olivia. So if you've been here today, you've seen the Mama Bears. Scott just talked about the Mama Bears. I talked about them yesterday, and that's why when I met Justice, and there's a couple other kids here. I mean, there's one little kid out there. He's wearing a little suit, and it's like so cool. He's 10 years old or 8 years old. I mean, we do this for this purpose right here, for these children, period. The most precious right, the most precious right that we have, that our Constitution gives us, and we have been like a pagan society for, 40 years maybe, 50 years. The most precious right that our Constitution gives us is the right to life. Okay? So we are an imperfect society, but I will tell you what. When I look at these children, these beautiful young children, and the abuse that is happening, and everybody knows this. I mean, we have got to stop kidding ourselves, right? We all know this. I mean, I got a litany of things, that I rattle through. I've done a couple of interviews today with different parts of the country, and I rattle through a bunch of things that are domestic and foreign problems that our country's facing. Nobody voted for this nonsense. We didn't vote for this. We did not. We did not. And it's very upsetting. It's very upsetting. And there is a purpose behind this. There's a real purpose. This is not politics as usual. This isn't going to be fixed. It's not going to be fixed in another election, But we have to do that. We have to go through our process. The guy that's going to come up, I think, behind me is a very good friend of mine, Seth Keshel, a young man who served in our army, and he's going to, for those of you that have seen Seth Keshel talk about the country and talk about the election system that we have, he's going to get up here, he's going to lay out some stuff where he's going to really give you in detail information about about yesterday's audit, because the media, Newsmax isn't covering it, Breitbart isn't covering it, Fox is not covering it. That's just wrong. So, we're gonna work hard here to make sure that we have all of these various, I call them independents. Doug Billings was up here earlier, and Ann Vanderstill and Scott, and others. They're just the great Dr. Alan Keyes. I wish that man was going to run for president now. He's unbelievable. I've always been a fan of his entire time that he sort of stepped into the fray years ago, and they just berated him. They berated him. Because anybody that threatens the establishment, and we threaten the establishment. These rallies, what they do to the enemy, right? I really try to be very choice with my words. If I said things like Scott was up here, so I told him, instead of saying, bull, I said, say like Bolshevik, right? My mother would wash my mouth out with soap and not give me any, she would take my toothbrush away for a week, right? So, we've got so many things that we're dealing with, so many things, the confusion of COVID. Our government has confused the heck out of us, totally. I'm not a doctor. I've studied this enough, though. I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid. Don't play me as stupid, and don't pretend like we're a bunch of dummies out here in this country. This is health tyranny. It's tyranny against our health. I call it, the other, education indoctrination. The filth, the pornography that they are teaching in elementary schools. It's outrageous. Critical race theory, give me a break. This country is not a racist country. Racism exists? Yeah, right. I got it. But you know what? That, along with this other stuff, it's almost like throw that in as to throw them off, because we're going to continue to teach this other filth in our schools. I've seen this stuff. Maybe others who are in here have seen some of what I'm talking about. Some of these books that they're issuing in elementary schools to 10-year-olds. Schools do not teach our children. Parents teach your children. The family teaches the children. In fact, you don't even have to go to school to earn a living if you really think about it. Just teach a kid good common sense. Teach them the golden rule, how to treat others like you like to be treated. Teach the kid how to read, and kick them in the rear end once in a while and tell them to get out there and work. So I got an update on the border, Del Rio Bridge, Texas, illegal immigration. This is at crisis proportions. So I got a call from a buddy who's going down there today, gets down there today, talked to him about 3 hours ago, maybe 4 hours ago now. Remember the big pictures of the Del Rio Bridge, I think it was 12,000, 15,000 Haitians? They're gone. They're gone. So, you all been here, not being able to pay attention. The media's not going to cover it. They're gone. He said they're gone. So where the hell do they go? Right? I don't know. Maybe they're in some military base, but he said buses, trucks, cars, planes, they're gone. So they're somewhere in the United States. I got another update today on Americans left behind enemy lines in Afghanistan. And so for the citizens that are still being rescued by private citizens, and this is just outrageous to me, our government, so private people are trying to rescue these people and get them out of there, but our government wants them to test for COVID. I'm not kidding you. I'm not, it's just unbelievable. We have incredible rates of crime rising around this country, particularly in our big cities. Hugely. It's huge. And this administration, and frankly, a lot of people in these big cities, and you all know, some of you are from some of these places where crime is rising, yet they have this phrase, defund the police. And they're serious about this. Make it a big social program. How many police officers or former police officers in here? Stand up if you served as a police officer. Stand up. There you go. Stand up. There you go. That's good. Thank you. The right phrase is it's not defund the police. So the left picks these phrases. It's not defund the police, it's back the blue. That's the right phrase. Back the blue. So, the one other thing I have in common with Trump is we both got canceled from Twitter on the same day. January 8th, 2021. January 8th. I think, I always say that I use the word God too much. I actually do think that was why, because I couldn't figure out why were they canceling, why were they just censoring me? So actually, I don't really care about that because, we find other ways to communicate, but the whole censorship. So why? Yes, why is this happening? The reason why is because if the government censored us, okay? If the government censored us, it would be against the Constitution. So what did this crowd do? They cut a deal, they worked it out with these big tech titans, and they said, you do it, because there's privacy issues. These are private companies, they're not public companies. If they were public companies, it'd be a different issue. But since they're private companies, they can just say, you're done, we don't like what you're saying. So you're done. That's what they did. Purposeful, intentional censorship, and enabled by our government. Very, very dangerous. It's very dangerous. So it's legal because they can do it, because it's a private company. Is it moral? No. Is it ethical? No. But that's what's happened. So don't kid yourself that this is normal times. This is not going to be solved overnight. But it is going to be solved, and we are going to win. And we're going to win because of we the people. And this is the last part on the domestic side, because I'm going to let Seth come up and he's going to talk about election fraud. Because election fraud or election integrity, whatever you want to call it, our election system is broken. It is broken. So I can't fix that. I can't fix that nationally. In fact, it's not supposed to be fixed nationally. It's supposed to be fixed at the state level and down at the local level. Okay? The federal government was given almost zero responsibilities for our election system. It was given to states. That's why we're still able to do these kinds of audits. Okay, but the other part of the domestic problem that we're facing is religious persecution. Religious persecution. I mean, the whole basis of our country, the whole basis of our Constitution, the Bill of Rights, if you read the founders' diaries, the letters to each other, the Federalist Papers, and the Constitution, but their arguments and their debates, it really had to do with the Bible and how much of the Bible did they want to bring into the Constitution. Word creator's in there 4 times in our Constitution. The Bill of Rights, those are promises that we make to each other. 10 Commandments, those are promises that we make to each other. And as I said briefly yesterday, the fulfillment of those promises in the Bill of Rights and the fulfillment of those promises in the 10 Commandments comes from the Constitution and the Bible. And when you read the essence of how that document, our Constitution was created, it was created because there was a bunch of people that didn't want to be persecuted anymore. And so it didn't happen over a 3-day weekend. It happened over decades. And it happened with a lot of debate and a lot of argument. And then they gave up their lives to defend it. So that's just domestic. We didn't vote for this. We didn't vote for this, folks. We voted because all those things that I talked about, all those things were not a problem under Trump. Trump was raising the issue of every single one of these. So we didn't vote for this. On the foreign side, big winners today. Big winners on the foreign stage. China. They are the principal, biggest winner on the foreign stage. And we have to be on our toes right now. That's an enemy that I have been studying, and I call him an enemy because I'm a military guy. In the State Department, they can call him a colleague, or they can call him an acquaintance, or whatever the word they want to use. Commerce Department will call him a competitor. I'm a military person by nature. And I have to be, in my life, be ready to fight and win. Not fight and participate in endless wars, but to fight and win. So China's the big one. And I'm telling you, on the foreign policy stage right now, and I could spend hours talking about China and all the different angles that they are taking to usurp the United States of America right here in this country right now. And I mentioned some of these others. North Korea they're firing missiles again. Iran, I mean, we're kowtowing back to the Iranians again. ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the Taliban. I mean, private citizens are having to negotiate with the Taliban to get American citizens out of Afghanistan. It's crazy. And again, there's a litany of problems on the foreign stage. We did not vote for this. So as I look at the landscape as I sort of look at the horizon and try to think about what it is that we need to do, and that's why I always bring it back to what we need to do as American citizens. You know, in the Revolutionary War, there was only like 3% that actually fought. I mean, more than a third stuck with the Tories and you know, gave in to the English, and then about probably another third. There's only 4 million people in the 13 colonies at that time. About another third just were complacent. You know, they just kind of said, you know, stayed out of the way. And then there was another batch of people that would open their homes up to our guys, I guess, and they would help, and they would give them food and stuff like that. You know, it's an interesting piece of history that we have to understand. We have to understand it because we're in a different era. We're in a war. We're in a war that's an information war, and there's really four components to it. It's very emotional. It's physical. I mean, if this beautiful little child, Olivia, if that's not a physical component, if that's not a physical component of this war that we are in, I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, then they put this little girl in a cubicle in a classroom. A teacher did that. Administrators did that. You know, they ought to be all fired. So there's an intellectual component. So emotional, physical, intellectual. And the intellectual component is really this business about the information. And you got to dig deep. You cannot sit there and say, I don't know. There's plenty of places to get information. Plenty of places. And it's not always on your iPhone or on your laptop, but there's plenty of places to get information. And you have to share it. You have to be the judge of the information that you get. You cannot sit there and complain. I'm so done with complaining. I never liked complainers in the military. You know, what do you want to do? What do you want me to do? Because I will make a decision. So no complaining anymore. Get smarter on what it is that you need to know. You don't have to know everything, but definitely don't sit there like a bump on a log or like a person under a mushroom and pretend like, well, Jesus, it's too hard for me. Life's hard. Life is not fair. It is not fair. So intellectual, emotional, physical, intellectual. But the biggest component of this war is spiritual. It is a spiritual war. And I'll tell you why, and I'll shut up. I'll tell you why. Because it's spiritual, because we are facing. So when I look at the terrain, when I look at the landscape, as a military guy, I want to own the terrain. I want to decide what terrain I fight on. I want to decide what the timing is. I want to decide what the resources are going to be. You are a resource. We the people are a resource. But this spiritual component is because we are primarily, and I mean hundreds of millions in this country, okay? Hundreds of millions, certainly 150 million adults. We are primarily a Christian nation. And so what has happened, and I can tell you, in 2012, I use this word very, very, I don't use it much. The Democratic Party, this phrase, the Democratic Party, I won't use that again. But that party, they removed God from their platform in 2012. So, I mean, this is what we're facing. This is what we're facing. So when I said at the very beginning, the most precious thing that we have, the most precious right that we have is the right to life. Right to life. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. And it's not, we're in a place in this country. And I actually think that, if I was a Martian and I understood the definition of the word pagan, P-A-G-A-N, if I was a Martian and I came down to Earth and I landed in the middle of the United States and I understood the definition of the word pagan, I would look around the United States and I'd say, man, this is a bunch of pagans. This is a pagan society. Because look at what they do to their children. Okay? Look at the education system that we've given to our children. So, while you all have a breath left in you, because we don't know what tomorrow will bring, while you have a breath left in you, you give it your very best. You give this country your very best. And I'm telling you what, you do that, and what we'll get is we'll get exactly what we deserve, which is a country that is a constitutional republic. It's a free-born citizen country, and we will remain free. I want to just say to all of you, thank you so much for everything that you've done for my family and I. Thank you for being part of what this is really. These events are super important. And don't ever give up. Don't ever give up on this country, because once you do, you've given up on your family. And more importantly, you've given up on yourself. So God bless you all. God bless America. Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Let's hear for General Michael Flynn. Okay, a couple quick housekeeping notes. As we're wrapping up this year, people say, how do you know if you're going to another location? Well, this is how the org chart of my life works. Jesus is king, Trump is my president, and General Flynn is my general. How about that? That sound fair? Probably put that on a shirt. And that incredible family said, you got to bring this event to Oregon. And so General Flynn says, we're going to Oregon. So I ran it we have the org chart. Jesus is king, Trump is my president, General Flynn is my general, but my wife is the boss. You know what I mean? The boss. So I talked to my boss and I said, boss, can we go January 27th, 28th, and 29th to Oregon? And she said, yes. So we're going to Oregon January 27th, 28th, and 29th, all right? So for those of you that want tickets, we always have so many more people request tickets so we can get in. Go to timetofreeamerica.com, timetofreeamerica.com. And thank you to my boss, Vanessa, for approving this message. Okay. And now we have a gentleman who wants to come on up here. He's a poet, and he's an artist, and he wants to help raise some money here for americasfuture.net and to support those families of those 13 fallen soldiers. So he's going to come up with a performance. I also want to let you know we have 6 final presentations today, 6 final presentations. How many of you know Dr. Simone Gold? Dr. Simone Gold? Oh, her presentation is mind-blowing, and we have Seth Keschel. He'll be at the very end breaking down the Arizona audit. So you want to stay tuned. 6 final presentations. I'll pass the mic back to General.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so, and Simone's going to give you a major piece of information where she just dropped a humongous case. I mean, it's like a nuclear bomb to support our military primarily. So she's going to talk about that. You need to pay attention to that. And Seth, the last thing that you'll see is really about, because I really want this part of this is to leave here understanding what is happening in our country, particularly this Arizona audit. I mean, the media is just trying to crush it, and we're not going to have that. It's not going to happen. Believe me, folks, not going to happen. So, William, come on out here, buddy. So William and I met really not that long ago. He's a beautiful poet, and he called me up about a week ago, and he says, hey, I want to read you a poem that I wrote for you. So he read it to me over the phone, and then he was with an artist. We spoke to him today. I didn't really know these guys until about a week ago, and they created this thing. And it's really just about, it's humbling to me. But what William has done is he's created this. He's got the authentic pictures of this out at his vendor location, which is around the corner out here. And what he's going to do is he's going to donate a big chunk of the proceeds to the cause, the Heroes Never Forgotten cause. So I just wanted to bring William out here and just say thank you very much for what you're doing. And I mean, you get these amazing creative people that just want to give of their time and their talent. And in this case, you know, we brought him here, and he's making this presentation. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. And I want you to know something, General Flynn. There comes a time in our history to where we have to honor leaders who lead. And General Flynn is that man. Right now, amen. And we're going to have 20 of these available. They're certified, they're numbered, and they're signed by General Flynn. And the bidding is going to start outside. You'll see this set up. It's going to start around $1,200 because we want to raise money for these 13 warriors and their families. So, General Flynn, God bless you, and thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And last thing, so we're at about I think a little over 900. We may have reached 1,000 donors. And we've exceeded $100,000 in the last 24 hours, trying to break we're trying to get to the 200 to 250,000. We got a couple more days to run this thing. We'll get there. We'll get there. America is so giving. So, again, thank you so much. God bless you all, okay? Peace.
All right. Love that guy. How many of you love General Flynn? I love that guy. Love that guy. My man. Hey, I love that. I really do. I love that guy. Behind the stage, I mean, sometimes people get on stage and you go, what are they like behind stage? He's better than he is on stage, and he's great on stage. I love that man, General Flynn. I'm just honored to know him.